Hello everybody, welcome back to the game room. A lot of people have said to me, hey Kevin, that's a lot of cool systems you have, but where are your games at? And I actually do have some games in this room. There's some on the wall right there, and there's some on the wall over there. But the rest of them are across the hallway right over there. Today I'm going to give you a tour of the games in that room. And just remember, you're not a true gamer unless your collection takes over the whole house. So here's a faraway look at my shelves, and one thing you might notice is that behind the shelves here there's like a little passageway. I actually have these shelves away from the walls, and I have storage behind these shelves. Later on I'm going to take you back there and show you around. Also notice there is an island here in front of the games. The reason I have this is that I make certain videos in here that use this island, including one that I recently posted where I was playing that emulation device. I did it all right here. But for now, I'm going to move this out of here so that we can take a closer look at the games. There we go. Oh, you're a little crooked there. So what I have here are 4 separate shelf units. And I actually created these myself using wood and nails and screws and glue and stuff. Just like in the game room, I needed to customize the shelving to my needs. I needed something that could display varying degrees of sizes of video games in a cool looking way. I tried to make them as eco-friendly as possible. I used cardboard for the back of them, and it has worked very well. That being said, they are a little bit crooked. There's some gaps here that are uneven as you go from the top to the bottom. It's no big deal to me because these shelves are utilitarian and I don't spend time in here staring at these games. In actuality, I might hang something over the gaps here in the future. Like hang my Game Boy Advance individual games along that gap, and it'll make the gap disappear probably. But at the top of these shelves are these jacks. I think that's what you call them. They help stabilize the shelves to keep them from tipping forward and tipping back. They go between the top of the shelves and the ceiling. You basically turn a knob and that gap will fill in. It would be very hard to tip these over with those jacks up there. Hopefully that makes sense. So this collection is about 2,200 games, and it's been about 2,200 for quite a while. I quit my job to do YouTube recently, so I've had to cut a lot of expenses. So right now I haven't been buying that many games. But this is more than enough games for anyone to have. I'm glad I have these games. I enjoy physical media. I assume you guys do too, or you wouldn't be watching this. So far it's maintained its value for what I bought it for. Most of these games were bought in the mid-2000s. They weren't as expensive as they are today. I definitely would not recommend collecting games to someone who's thinking about doing it and hasn't done it yet. It's way too expensive. FPGA emulation is what I would recommend if you want to play retro games. So the question always gets brought up, are you actually ever going to play these games? On my previous channel, I actually posted over 100 reviews, so if you want proof that I'm actually playing the games, it's out there. When I buy games, I typically think, is this a game I'm ever going to play? As mentioned on my previous videos, I have been going through the Dreamcast games and just beating them one by one. Just a few days ago, I beat Legacy of Kain Soul Weaver. There might be more hours needed to play these games than hours I have left in my life, but we'll see. Obviously, it's real easy for me to actually play these games since I have a bunch of game consoles in the other room ready to play. That makes it more enticing. By the way, I did not make this video to brag about my collection. People requested that I make this video. Just think of this as show and tell. So let's get a little bit closer and see what I got going on here. I'll start by talking about the 32X games. I'm not sure how many of you play 32X games. They're not the greatest. I do like the look of the yellow boxes. I have a few of them in hard cases. Right here I have Mortal Kombat 2 and Tempo and Koluribi and Knuckles Chaotix. I'm eventually going to put them all in protective cases, but I ran out and these were the only 4 that I had left. You're going to see some games alphabetized today and some not. And you're also going to see some that are semi-alphabetized but have gotten messed up over time. I have a couple of these in hard cases, and I'm not sure if these were originally released in a hard case. I think they were. Either that or these are custom made. I do have a few loose games. I have T-Mech, BC Racers, Zaxxon Mother Base 2000, and Blackthorn. You'll notice that they messed up this box when they printed it. See how the Doom logo is upside down. So I always have to look at that. I do have manuals for a lot of these games, and sometimes they're in the cases, but other times they're in the drawers. A little bit further down, I have a Vectrex multi-cart. It has all the games from what I can see, and it also has some homebrews. I also have a Zavix port game down here, Tennis. I have some Buzz Time Trivia refill cartridges because, you know, a lot of people play that system. Over here I have the Switch games that I don't have hanging on the wall. There's Super Mario Odyssey. I love that game and I actually got 100% in it. Bubble Bobble for Friends. I ended up not liking that and I'm not sure why I bought it. Here's my PSP collection. This is a system I like a lot. And Daxter, I've played through that game before. It's a good game. I got both the God of War games, a lot of other ones here. Killzone Liberation, I love the Killzone series. And over here is the Atari 2600 collection. Hold on a second, I gotta get this. Hello? Oh, you've seen the channel? Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't do that, I'm married. Okay. Man, I just gotta keep fighting them off, I tell you. But I have the Atari 2600 games sorted by how the cartridges look. So I have all the red ones here, the red label ones, and the traditional labeled ones are up here. The silver labeled ones are here. I actually play the Atari 2600 a lot more than you might think, because the games are easy to pick up and play. They're unlike anything else that's being produced today. I'll never get tired of Junior Pac-Man. The gameplay is just timeless. But I grew up with the 2600 in the house and I kind of never let go of it. I've always been a fan. Some people say it's the nostalgia talking, but I say let it talk, you know? Enjoy yourself. Enjoy these types of games. There's no other game like Haunted House that they make today. One of my favorite games is Missile Command. I like how it ties into the Cold War themes of the 1980s. When I go into a store to buy them, I try to find ones with a good label. And if I have a game with a bad label, like this Maze Craze here, I'll try to look in the store for one that has a better one and I'll just upgrade it. Name this game. Ooh, look at that label. I gotta fix that sometime. My most valuable game is probably Beam Rider. I think this might be a $40 or $50 game.
Every fiber in my being says this is a mistake.
Overall though, the average price for Atari games is probably $7 or something, I don't know.
Every instinct is telling me this is wrong, it is dangerous, it is futile.
And I do have some of these tapes. The Atari 2600 played tape-based games that were a lot more graphical than the other games, using the StarPath device. Mattel, the makers of the Intellivision, also made games for the 2600 at the same time they made Intellivision games. Here's an actual Intellivision game, and here's a 2600 game made by Mattel, and you can actually see that they used the same cartridges for both, except for the 2600 ones, they added this lip on the end. As a result of that, it makes them hard to stack. As you stack them, it curves, and it makes it very unstable. And there's the rest of my Atari games. Next, I want to talk about the Saturn game collection I have here. I have quite a few of them that are in the cases. And as you might know, these cases are really fragile. Some of them are broken, such as this one right here. Sega made about 20 bad decisions in a row around this time, and one of them was the game cases for the Sega Saturn. Some of these are quite expensive if you buy them today, such as Magical Knight Ray Earth. This was the final Sega Saturn game released in America. Now notice I have 2 copies of Duke Nukem 3D. I intentionally bought 2 of them because I plan on one day playing over the internet a 2-player game, and you have to have 2 copies. And the way I'm going to do that is actually play them in the same room. I bought a phone line simulator. From what I know, it can mimic dial-up internet, and if I have 2 Sega Saturns, then I'll be able to play against someone else in the same room. So we'll see how that goes. There's Sega Ages and Shining Force 3. These are quite valuable. These are not the only Sega Saturn games I own. I have a stack of mostly Japanese ones right here, including a lot of the shoot 'em ups. Radiant Silvergun, Battle, Gariga, and so forth. Gradius Deluxe Pack. These are some of my most treasured games because these are some of the most fun games in my collection. I love shoot 'em ups. Deep Fear, I believe this might be no, this is the Japanese copy. I actually have an unopened Sega Rally right there. I have 2 copies of Virtual On. That's another game that I plan on playing over the internet. I have even more Sega Saturn games, and they are loose ones that are in this CD wallet. And there is a tragic tale behind this wallet. A long time ago, when the Sega Saturn was actually out, I had a job at the time, so I could afford some of the new releases on the Saturn. I got tired of the cases and how fragile they were. One day, I crushed the cases and just threw them away. I put all the games in a wallet here. I also have some other loose games in here that aren't Sega Saturn. That was a big mistake on my part. I probably lost out on a lot of monetary value by crushing the actual cases of some of these games. Saturn Bomberman. This would be worth a lot more if I had the case. But back then, I wasn't thinking about how valuable a game might be in the future. I just wanted it to be convenient. So it's just one of the many war stories that I have. And over time, I might tell you more of them because I've been gaming for so many years. I have a lot of strange tales. So now I'll talk about the Sega CD games. And I think they look cool when they're stacked this way against the Sega Saturn game cases. Now, I don't play Sega CD games that much because of 2 reasons. One, a lot of these games are very low quality and haven't aged very well. Another is that I feel like I'm going to burn out the laser on my Sega CD, so I kind of don't want to play it that much. There is a game called Wirehead. I think this is a hidden gem. I do have Sylpheed here. That's a fan favorite. I think this is a sequel to Musha, Robo Aleste. Let's see if there's anything else notable here. Willy Beamish. This is an early Sega CD one that didn't come in the standard case. This is a game that I really want to play in the future. My friend always used to talk about this, and he didn't even have a Sega CD, but he would play this game occasionally on someone else's Sega CD. And I have a few other Sega CD games just laying around, like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Sewer Shark, Road Avenger. That is a great Sega CD game. I also own some of the Sega CD 32X combo games, such as Night Trap. Here's an unopened Corpse Killer, and here's an unopened Fahrenheit. I don't have that many unopened games in my collection, and in fact, I've opened quite a few over the years just because I wanted to play the games. These probably came with a lot of games that I bought that had a couple of sealed games in it. I don't go out seeking sealed games. While I'm down here, I might as well point out some other ones I have here. I have the 3DO Gex. This is my only Neo Geo CD game. I have a 3DO sample CD, which I cannot get to work for some reason. Here's my PS Vita games. Not too many there. I put a ton of hours into Killzone Mercenary. I love the multiplayer in it. This is an example of a game that I played about 80% through and then I just stopped for some reason. I'm sure that happens to some of you guys too. Here's another sealed game, Sly Cooper. But I have a small PS3 collection here. PS4 games, I have most of them on the wall in the video game room, but here's the ones that remain. I have not opened Shenmue 3 yet. Same with the 1 and 2. I'm dedicated to this Sega property and I want to support them, so I bought those early. I have one PS5 game, if you can believe that. I actually do play quite a few PS4 games on the PS5, and I have 5 Xbox One games. 360 games. I got all 3 Mass Effects, Fable 2, Fable 3, Dead Space, Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3. This is one I'm definitely going to play one day. I played through the Switch version of Katamari recently, which was a re-release of the PS2 one. And here's my GameCube collection. People love GameCube. There's so much excitement in the GameCube community from what I can see. The collectors are mad about these games. The prices are through the roof. I actually have played through the 2 Metroid games, and I enjoyed them quite a bit. I think I'll play through both of them again one day. If they get re-released. If not, I'll just play through these versions. I recommend these for anyone that plays video games. Let's see, what other notables do I have? I have Super Mario Sunshine. I've actually played through this game, and I 99.9%ed it. There was a coin that could not be reached because of a glitch that happened to me. So one day I'm going to play through this again and hope that that glitch doesn't happen. I do have Ikaruga. I have played quite a bit of that. But it gets a little too hard for me after a while. It's not the best shoot 'em up, but if I have a GameCube already running, this is one of the games I reach for. And I have Chicky Robo. I think this is a valuable game. Not to keep talking about the value, but it's unavoidable if you're a game collector. This looks like a very cute game, and it looks a little bit like Toy Commander, which is one of my favorite games of all time. And one that really interests me is Geist. This looks like a fun game, and I think it's exclusive to the GameCube. So now let's talk about the original Xbox games, which go from right there, all the way through here, and all the way through here. And my cat wants to say hi. Say hi. This is Midnight. She is about 13 years old, and she predates this whole collection, believe it or not. For the most part. I should probably talk about how I acquired these games. I used to work near a game store, and on break or at lunch I would go down there and buy some of the games they had at the time. That would have been in the mid 2000s, like maybe 2005-ish. And they would have these little coupons on the back of grocery receipts for like $5 off if you buy $30 worth of games. And I was clipping those coupons all the time, using maybe 3 a week. They got tired of it. They said no one else used those coupons. But at that time, a lot of the 6th generation games on the Xbox and PS2 were only about $2 at that store. I also acquired quite a bit of this collection off eBay over a long stretch of time. On eBay, there used to be large lots you can buy of video games. And during the early days, you could get a lot of games for very little money doing it that way. If you do see a lot of stinkers in my collection, it probably came from one of those lots. I would say about 60% of this collection was off eBay. Other than eBay and that store, there's not that many other places I got these from. The size of my Xbox collection is big compared to the other games on this shelf. I also bought a lot of PS2 games, but I preferred the Xbox counterparts on the multi-system games. In general, the Xbox games were a little bit more graphical and more colorful compared to their PS2 counterparts. I know there's a ton of exceptions, and there's a lot of features in the PS2 games that the Xbox Ones did not get. But anyway, I did accumulate a lot of Xbox games, and I had intended on playing them all. But every Xbox I've ever owned has broken, every original Xbox. I've gone through 3 of them. Okay, so here's the beginning of the collection. I see Crimson Skies here. I did play through this one, and I liked it. I have Crazy Taxi 3. That's definitely one I'm going to play a lot in the future. I plan on playing all the Crazy Taxis, but I'll play through the 2 on the Dreamcast first. I always loved the artwork for Advent Rising, and I know this game was a huge flop. I think that this contest failed and they weren't able to do it for some reason, but this is the kind of sci-fi stuff I'm into, so I am gonna play that one day. This game right here looks really cool, Dreamfall, and I have the really cool cover for Doom 3 here. I've played through Elder Scrolls 4, but I've never played through Elder Scrolls 3. I'm not sure if I'll go backward or forward with that series in the future. Lord of the Rings games right here. We have Kingdom Under Fire, and Jade Empire. Indigo Prophecy is another type of game that I could see myself playing in the near future. I think this is a David Cage game, and I loved Detroit Become Human. Halo 1, I have gone through that game and beat the campaign mode. I never got a chance to play it online though. I imagine that was pretty fun. Okay, here you're seeing some of the sports games, and I'm not sure why I bought those. I will probably never play NHL 2003. Right here are the two treasures of my Xbox collection, and these are two games I have played through. They are made by Sega, or at least published by Sega. They are the Otogi series. These probably only would have been a few bucks, but they're very expensive now. I think they're both now playable on the Series X, which is probably why they've seen a spike in prices. And I'll just let you glance at the rest of them here. There's Shenmue 2 again, so that's another one I own twice. And right here you see the Tom Clancy games, and I've alphabetized them and put them in the T section. Some people probably wouldn't do it that way. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I had to get out of that room because it was getting very stuffy. I ended up talking a lot more than I thought I was going to in this video, so I decided to break it into part 1 and part 2. When part 2 is ready, it'll be a clickable link right up here in the corner, and if you see a Ouya instead, it means it's not posted yet, or you don't have clickable links in your region. I also want to thank my Patreon members right there for helping to support this channel. May your games make you happy and smart, and may people respect you for playing them. So long, everybody.